All right, guys, we're back for another edition of Talking Prep. So as you see, we're getting right to it. Chris, let's talk about these rankings. We're going to get to some pairings. So we're going to do rankings first, then pairings. So we're going to start with the 8-man NCHSAA and go through the rest of the NCISAA. And then Cameron's going to give us his picks. We're going to talk about it. So go ahead and get started, Chris.
Well, not a lot of changes at the top of the 8-man, but we finally had our first change in the top 5 for the first time in about 3 weeks when Faith Christian knocked off Parrott Academy in a big game. But other than that, you still got Wayne Christian. I've talked a lot about them the past few weeks. I think that they are the prohibitive favorite in the 8-man, and no real changes there. I still love the 8-man game. I think it's a whole lot of fun. I think that it's very exciting, and I still would love to see some 1A programs in the public school ranks go to 8-man ball.
All right, D2 private schools.
Trinity Christian and everybody else. That's what I think. Although that Asheville school, I kind of got a little bit of backlash putting a 5-5 Asheville school up there, number 2. But you've seen what they did Friday night. Just a thorough victory against Hickory Grove. I think that Asheville school team is really good. Trinity Christian, though, Coach Webster over there, like that program, a lot of talent. I think that this lower division, though, of the private league is going to be really exciting here in the next 2 weeks.
All right, and then let me find my D1 private schools here, and I'm assuming Raven Gap is still at the top of it.
Well, they definitely are, and I'm kind of hoping that we can get a rematch of Raven Gap and Providence Day. I might actually make it to that game this time. Raven Gap, just phenomenal team. I had a chance to see them in person up in Robbinsville about 4 or 5 weeks ago. Just like everything about that team, well coached, but biggest line I think I've seen in all of ball, public school, private school, it doesn't matter. The good is good.
Dale was well impressed with Raven Gap.
Very much so.
Very much so. All right, let's talk about these pairings. All right, Cam, who's winning these games? Give us your picks, top to bottom. Start at the top.
I've got Raven Gap over Ravenscroft. That Country Day and Christ School game could go either way. I think Charlotte Country Day is probably a little bit better. Then Charlotte Christian, pretty confident in that one, and Providence Day, pretty much chalk, but I'll take Country Day over Christ School.
All right, same with
then obviously Asheville School's got the bye there. Hickory Grove, very, very talented team, real good on offense. I like them over Covenant Day. I like Trinity Christian, and obviously High Point Christian there with the bye.
Covenant Day just
I don't know a lot about 8-man football though.
Yeah, Covenant Day beat High Point Christian Friday night, by the way.
I think that's a tough draw for Coach Tad Balcom's Hickory Grove Lions team. I think that Covenant Day team, that's a tough draw.
Yeah, no, I mean, and like I said, they just beat the number 1 seed on Friday night. So that could be a very interesting first round game, actually. All right, Chris, we're going to talk about the 1A public schools. Let's start here with our rankings.
Oh, there you go. Mount Airy again, top number 1. Tarboro right there, number 2. No surprise. Robbinsville had that close victory over Swain County. Swain only drops 1 spot. In fact, those 2 teams just flip-flop positions. Eastern Randolph against a team that I think is surging, as is Mountain Heritage. Mountain Heritage had that 52-15 victory over Drawn. Very impressive last week up there. Star Mountain, Star Mountain's a team that I like a lot, but they also lost their quarterback for the year. So that's a big question mark for Coach Greg Lloyd in that program. Murphy's kind of lurking there. West Columbus has a bye week based off of kind of the 1A seeding. So, fortunate, looking, see how this shakes out. But, I still think that Mount Airy and Tarboro are top 2 dogs.
All right, let's take a look at these brackets. And let Cam do his magic, then we'll discuss a little bit. We'll get Jim West on here to give us his thoughts as well. All right, Cam, here are the 1A pairings. Let's start on the eastern side. Give us your picks as we go down.
Well, obviously Tarboro. They don't play this week. They're playing bye. If they lose the bye, then they don't deserve to win. But I've got Hopton over Northampton there. Just going straight down, I've got North Duplin and Southeast Halifax, and obviously Beargrass Charter's got the bye there.
Yep.
I've got Rosewood, and I think Rosewood could give them a little bit of trouble in the second round there. Going down, I've got East Bladen, and then also got Northside Pinetown, because obviously the bye. Wilson Prep because of the bye.
Yeah.
That Gates County Welding game could be pretty closer than some might think. But I think Gates County gets the job done. And then Northmore and Bertie in the next quadrant down. And if you keep scrolling, I've got Lakewood, however you pronounce that. I'm not really good with
Northwest Halifax.
pronunciation.
Northwest Halifax.
No.
Okay, yeah.
Perquimans.
Yeah.
Perquimans, yeah.
Perquimans. There you go. Then I've got Warren County and then West Columbus because of the bye in the East.
Jim West, anything on the Eastern 1A side jump out at you? Is there one game you keep your eye on?
Well, a couple things. You can call it Perquimans, or you can call it Jim Catfish Hunterland. I don't care either way. I will say that I'll pick Washington County to beat Rosewood, and that's the reason why is about 90% of my in-laws live in Plymouth. So got to be if I want to enjoy Thanksgiving, I got to pick Washington County. But it's Tarborough's to win. I think when it comes down to is who's going to play Tarboro in the East Regional. I mean, I could see it being West Columbus or Wilson, Prep or Northmore.
Okay. Cam, let's go down to the Western side.
Not so fast, my friend.
Okay.
Cam, I hate to say you're wrong, but I think you're dead wrong. Don't forget that Northampton team's really 8-2. They forfeited 3 games early in the year. That's a really fast, athletic crew. They got a really good quarterback. Hobson is really down. The quarterback's hurt. They got a couple other injuries right there. I really think that Northampton team is going to advance. I think they can give Tarboro a little bit of a run. Of course, they're not going to beat Tarboro. But the other team that I see really coming out of that top half of that bracket is East Bladen. Don't overlook this 5-5 East Bladen team. Coach Robbie Priest, that team is really good. Go back and look deeply at those losses. They've played some of the best of the best teams. That East Bladen team is a team that I think can go and actually play with Tarboro for maybe 2.5 quarters. I definitely don't think that they get a running clock coming after them. In that bottom half of the bracket, though, West Columbus, Northmore, I think those two teams have the strength. And I see West Columbus and Tarboro playing for the right to go to the championship. I wouldn't be surprised if Northmore did as well, but I think that Tarboro, again, kind of like to echo what Jim West said, I think it's Tarboro and everybody else.
All right, Cam, let's start on the West at the top.
Yeah, I've got Robbinsville out there. They're one of my favorites in the 1A, them and Mount Airy. I've got Mountain Island Charter. Just to eventually lose to Robbinsville. Then I've got Bessemer City and Swain County. Swain County really underseeded, if you ask me, at 9. I think they would even advance over Bessemer City. But then I've got Mountain Heritage there and Star Mount.
Okay.
And then another low-seeded team that I think can make some noise is Drawn. I've got them not only advancing out of the first game, but over North Rowan as well.
Ooh.
And obviously, with that being said, North Rowan over Elkin.
Yep.
Eastern Randolph, really talented team, really good on offense. I got them over Sherryville. And then I've got Hayesville over Christ the King. I've got Albemarle and Thomasville. And then I think Thomasville might actually upset Albemarle in the second round.
Okay.
Would that really be an upset, Cam?
I don't think so.
I mean, based on seeding, it's an upset. Not necessarily an upset based when you look at who all they've played.
I'll talk about Albemarle.
I got Bishop.
Go ahead.
Do what now?
I'll talk about this Albemarle team in just a second, but I'm going to let you continue.
Okay, I got Bishop McGinnis and Murphy, and then down at the bottom I've got Mitchell and Mount Airy, and I think Mount Airy is going to end up playing Robbinsville for the right to go to the state championship.
Right. We're going to track Cam's results for each week of the show, but Chris, what you got on this Albemarle South Davidson here?
Well, I like a lot of what Cam said. I want to start at the top real quick. I definitely see Robbinsville going all the way in that top half of the bracket. I like Mountain Island Charter. I like Bessemer City, Swain County. You know, again, they probably are a little underseeded, as you mentioned, Cam. But still, I see them facing off here in the third round against Robbinsville. You know, that was a 14-8 game last week. The game that I really like here in the second round is Mountain Heritage and Star Mount. Again, Star Mount's lost their quarterback, but don't forget that their backup quarterback was the starting quarterback at North Surrey last year, had moved to wide receiver. I still think Star Mount is a tough team. I really like that battle, though, against Mountain Heritage. This could be, there's some rumors that this could be the last year for the coach up there at Mountain Heritage, so we'll see if Coach Joy Robinson decides to retire or not. Drone and North Rowan, that's a game I could see going both ways. But the bottom half of the bracket is what I really like. That's where I see it getting interesting. Of course, Eastern Randolph, really like them a lot. But that Thomasville Albemarle matchup in the second round, I think is a really good round. You know, I know guys like Jim, he's been around a long time to see that Thomasville Albemarle rivalry was a big time rivalry, especially when you go back to the Yadkin Valley 2A days in the 90s. That was a really good rivalry. I'm telling you, this Albemarle team, even at 5-5, they're scoring about 22 a game, giving up 15. That is the best Albemarle team I think we've seen them have probably since Coach Scott Smith was there about a decade or so ago. Yeah, they lost to 3A Asheboro. They lost to Trinity close. They lost to West Stanley in overtime. It was a pretty decent team. But then again, you look at that 17-14 loss to Anson. Anson's turned out to be another really good team that's lower seeded, but they're not a bad team at all. And then they've kind of went on a run lately. This Albemarle team, actually, in my mind, I see them going all the way to the I think to the second or third round. I think they could beat Thomasville. Either way, I think both of them will go up against Eastern Randolph. And then looking at that bottom half of the bracket, you know, Mount Airy, you know, they're great. Mitchell's a good team. Bessemer City, they're a surging team. Coach Shane Short, write his name down. That's going to be a really good coach in a couple of years. Came off of Coach Greg Lloyd's Kings Mountain team. But again, you know, Mount Airy, Eastern Randolph are going to face off to go play against Robbinsville, but I just don't see anybody in this 1A, in my opinion, beat Robbinsville unless it was one of their Smoky Mountain Conference foes like a Murphy or a Swain that knows them really well.
Bryce is nodding his head. The guru speaks. All right, we'll be back to 2A after this break from Deer Park Water.
Deer Park is celebrating its 150th anniversary. Let's take a look back.
Deer Park, that's good water.
You can taste how pure Deer Park is.
Deer Park, that's good water.
Filtered naturally beneath the earth for a crisp, refreshing taste.
Deer Park.
Deer Park.
Deer Park.
Deer Park. That's still good water.
After 150 years, there's only one thing left to say. Deer Park, that's still good water.
How did you all get in here?
Yep. All right, we're back, Chris. Let's go through the 2A real quick. Is it Clinton and Monroe all the way to the house?
I think it is. I think 2A is one of the most clear-cut brackets out there. You know, you got Clinton right there. They've been the number one team all year. Coach Johnny Sal, you know, I know our own Sam Griner, after he beat Monroe, I think in week 2 of the season, said that he thought Monroe would probably be the best 2A team. I don't disagree with him. Monroe's really good. Don't forget about Coach Antonio Moore. You know, he's a friend of the show. He was on our program a couple years ago. I really like what they got going on there in Northeastern. Salisbury, Reedsville, you know, Wallace Rose Hill. A lot of these teams are what we thought they were. You know, Shelby, Wallace Rose Hill lost big games early in the year. But then, you know, every year cream rises to the top and they get the Guru's bell. So that's what's going to happen. Yeah, I like Clinton, Monroe.
Watch out for Shelby. Watch out for Shelby.
Watch out for Shelby. That's right.
You know, they played a really tough schedule, Guru, and I think that the speed, as I like to always say, the speed limit's slowing down a little bit, and they're going to be a problem.
I don't disagree.
All right, let's take a look at this bracket. Cam, we'll start on the eastern side as usual. Let me blow it up just a little bit so you guys can see it a little bit better. Start over there at the top, Cam.
All right, I got Clinton, and then I've got James Keenan. I've got Cummings, and then Martin County. We've got Wallace Rose Hill and Hartford County, pretty much chalk for the most part so far. We've got West Craven and Nash Central. Got Southwest Edgecombe there, and then Farmville Central.
Mm-hmm.
Whiteville and East Duplin. East Duplin, again, underseeded. I really think they could make some noise. Then I've got Princeton and Lewisburg. And then Midway and Northeastern.
Hertford.
Yeah. All right, Jim West.
Hertford
what are your thoughts
County.
here?
Well, you know, I was looking at it. There's going to be some really good games in here. That Beddingfield versus James Keenan game, that could be a pretty good one. I'm going with Cameron. I'm going with James Keenan. The one game that I differ from Cameron, I take Southeast Alabama over Martin County.
Yeah.
I think
24/9. Okay.
Big time.
I agree.
Southeast Alabama is a very young team. I saw them at the very beginning of the season play against Orange, and they've gotten a lot better. They only have like 2 or 3 seniors on the whole squad, and very small senior class. This is I think it's like 50 or 60 kids are seniors. But I do like Southeast Alabama, so I think they're a team that you'll be talking about next year. You know, going down a little bit, I like Southwest Onslow over Farmville Central. I mean, that game could really go either way. I'll take that one.
Is that a bell from the Guru?
Hey, I'm on it.
Lewisburg, Northwood. That's going to be a good game. That's going to be that could go either way on that one. Midway Homes. I'll be honest with you, I'm going with Midway on that game, but that could go either way too. So
yeah. And let me jump in there real quick just to kind of solidify what you're saying, Jim. I agree about that Southeastern Alamance team. Coach Tony Aguilar, he was one of the top lieutenants of John Kirby at Eastern Alamance, as was Patrick Stokes, who's now at Williams. Those two coaches went on and built their own thing. That's a team that I think is on the rise. But I've got to echo what Jim said. Southwest Edgecombe, they're 5-5, but they are a really, really, really good 5-5 team. They lost close to Jacksonville. They lost close to Richlands, who's a really good 3A team. They lost close to White Oak, really good 3A team. Lost close to Wallace Rose Hill, obviously a top echelon team. And then they lost 28-20 last week to East Dukeland. I think the Southwest Edgecombe, just looking on my bracket, I've got them as a third-round team. I think they're going to make some noise.
All right, Cam, let's talk West. Start at the top.
And I got Reedsville. I think year in and year out, Reedsville is always one of the top teams in the 2A. Then I got West Stokes. I got Brevard over Trinity and North Stanley over Andrews. Give me Monroe. I like Monroe to make a really deep run, possibly even state championship. Then they'll face West Lincoln, as West Lincoln will beat Chase. I've got Burns and Bunker Hill. Burns, again, I think they're a team that can make some noise, play a lot of tough games early in the year, could possibly even beat Bunker Hill in the second round. Then I've got the community school of Davidson playing East Surrey. Then Randleman over West Stanley. And then,
holes down there.
I don't see any teams there.
Yeah. Go ahead with your. Did you pick the rest of it?
Yeah, but I don't see.
Just call them out.
Let's see.
You got Forest Hills and Anson. That's the next one down.
Yeah, that's the next.
Okay, I picked Forest Hills there.
And then you got Shelby, which is probably Shelby favorite. And then the next one down, Lincolnton.
Yep, I picked Lincolnton in an upset based on rankings there, or based on seeding. And then the next two teams I picked were East Gaston and Salisbury.
Hearing all of that, Chris, what do you think?
For the most part, I agree with him. The one game that I struggled with the most, and I put about 20 minutes into looking at some film and looking at some different things this afternoon when I was doing my homework. That Chase and West Lincoln game is probably one of the hardest games for me in the entire bracket. I think that's a game that could go both ways. I really think that Coach Ponder, what West Lincoln has is just a little bit better, but that's a game that I would not be surprised if it went either way whatsoever. Also, a little up in the air. Jim, I know it's your comments at North Stanley, but I think that game with Andrews is going to be a little bit closer than the experts predict. And then just kind of looking down the list, Lincolnton, I picked that upset as well.
All right, let's jump into 3A. Chris, tell us the rankings.
All right, another flip-flop. It's the second time it's happened this year, but I got Crest back atop the rankings following the big win last week over Kings Mountain against, of course, Dudley. They had a good win over a ranked Eastern Guilford team, so they didn't go far. 71st right there in the mix. J.M. Robinson, Hickory. Kings Mountain only dropped 3 spots, and even with the loss, West Henderson's a team that's kind of been in and out, flirting with the rankings week in, week out. And then Southern Alamance, again, they dropped a spot. Southern Nash went up a spot. I think the 3A is really about 15 teams deep of what I consider top echelon teams. So we want to be able to settle this here on the field here in the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Sam Griner, what do you think about these rankings?
He's going to drink some Deer Park.
I see that.
Silence.
How do you get Deer Park?
Are you sipping your tea, Sam? Is that what you're doing?
Nah, straight running like a deer, brother.
All right, we're going to take a look at the brackets for 3A. Let me call those up and let you guys discuss. Cam, we're going to start over there on the left.
All right, just running straight down. I've got Havelock. I've got Western Alamance. J.H. Rose, I'm picking them over White Oak. I think J.H. Rose, they're actually ranked 29th in the 3A despite their 25 seed there. Then I've got North Brunswick, Scotland County, and Eastern Alamance, Northern Nash and Southern Nash. Northern Nash's only lost this year, so hard to beat a good team twice. Northern Nash could actually get him in the second round. I like Southern Alamance there, and Jacksonville, and then Vance County, and Harnett Central. Fike and Currituck County, and then Burlington Williams and 71st.
All right, Alex, this is getting a little closer to your heart. What do you think about the 3A bracket on the eastern side?
Well, that's one of those things. The 3A bracket historically has been one of those in terms of competition and good matchups is where the 3A bracket tends to shine year in and year out. This particular 3A bracket, frankly, isn't doing a whole lot for me this year. And then, just the truth be told, I mean, Williams is coming out of that Alamance County landscape is always going to be competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Fike in the Wilson area is always very strong. And 71st coming out of Fayetteville, they've been battle tested right there. But for the most part, it's going to be a tough matchup for whomever comes out of the East relative to whomever comes out of the West.
Okay.
Once again, that doesn't take anything away from the matchups as they are shining year in and year out in the 3A classification. But top to bottom, it's a formidable challenge for the East to match the West.
Jim.
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about that first round matchup between Cape Fear and Western Alamance.
Okay.
I got Cape Fear winning that game. I think Cape Fear is a dangerous team. I would not want to be Havelock having to play them in the second round. That's a really good one. I like White Oak over JH Rose. That game could go either way, but I do take Oak. Here's an upset I would pick. I like Person County. I think they're playing really good ball right now. They can move it. They can run the ball really good. Got good defense. Look at that as a possible upset against North Brunswick. Looking around there, Northern Nash, Southern Nash, they're great teams.
Mm-hmm.
Southern Alamance, I like them a lot. Jacksonville is a dangerous team. Jacksonville is a very strong one. Vance County, Terry Sanford. I'm kind of leaning towards Terry Sanford to win that game. I think that's a 27 versus 6. Yeah, that could be.
That was a semi Guru Bell on that pick. That was like an almost Guru Bell.
But I'm taking Terry Sanford at this point. Looking out though, 71st is my team in the East. I just like them a lot. I think they're great. I think 71st and Havelock will make a good Eastern Regional Championship.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, Cam. So we're going to slide over to the West, and
by the way, I've got Scotland County coming out of the bracket, but I agree. And I got Terry Sanford as a third-round team that could potentially knock off and go to the fourth. So I mean, I'm kind of in line with you, Jim.
Okay.
Scotland could do it.
Scotland in the finals. Scotland had been in the finals since somebody on the show played them in the championship game, I believe.
Yeah.
Who was that guy that ran the ball more than 33 times that game?
Yeah.
That guy. All right, Cam, go ahead.
I got Crest. I think Crest, in my opinion, they're the best team in 3A. Then I got South Point and facing Crest in a rematch there. South Point gave them all they wanted for about 3.5 quarters there, so that could be a interesting second-round game. Got West Charlotte and High Brighton. I think West Charlotte, they're battle-tested. Sam, I think you got a good group of guys that can make a deep run.
All right, hold on. I know we said we weren't going to talk future too much, but will Sam go to Cleveland County this year again?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Mark it down.
Mark it down. All right.
Well, now 2 years ago, Cleveland County came to him.
Keep going, Cam. What I don't understand. What
All right, then I got J.M. Robinson over North Davidson. It's already got Northwest Cabarrus over West Rowan there. I think that was the score to the game in the regular season. But got Northwest and Robinson in a matchup there in a rematch of what decided the SPC champion this year. They got Eastern Guilford and Dudley. I think Dudley could eventually play Crest or West Charlotte, whoever wins that game. They got West Henderson, and this Ledford East Lincoln game was probably the hardest one to pick. I think I ended up going with Ledford, but I think East Lincoln on any given night could win that game.
I like East a lot.
Then I've got Oak Grove and Pisgah.
Pisgah. All right.
Then I've got AC Reynolds and Kings Mountain. Kings Mountain, I think at the 10 could really make some noise. Then I've got North Lincoln and Hickory.
All right.
Good
Have you
pick.
heard that, Grace? What do you think?
I mean, this 3A bracket, I think is pretty incredible here. I mean, you've got so many conference rematches potentially in the second round. You had Dudley and Eastern Guilford down there at the bottom. I think they played. If it wasn't this past week, it was very recently. You got Creston South Point again. Those are those games where we know, we think one team's better, but then that's that rematch and the team that lost having that opportunity to make a couple tweaks. Next thing you know, you're in the dogfight, against a team who everybody had them kind of walking to the final. So it's going to be some very exciting second round games across the board.
Yeah, absolutely. Guru.
No, I mean, I think Cam was spot on. I really like his matchups. There's some teams in the 3A that I think make a bigger run. I'm really high on Scotland. Again, I think they'll have to get through 71st to get there. I really like Crest, but again, if Crest is going to win, they're going to be really battle hardened because they're going to have to probably go through Sam's West Charlotte team, through Dudley. Dudley's going to have a hard road as well. They're either going to have to play a Robbinsville or a Northwest Cabarrus. So just a lot of really good football.
Sam, you guys are going into the playoffs a little bit of a downer. How do you guys turn it around and find the magic you had in the first 7 games, not the last 3?
Well, definitely need to find some magic, Con. This is the time where your record doesn't matter if we come in here 10-0. Doesn't matter now if we come in here 5-5. It's you're 0-0. You win, you advance. This is the type of football we enjoy. Had a team meeting today. We're excited about the challenge, and it kind of feels a little bit better. People, not anticipating us to come anywhere or go anywhere necessarily. We got a tough draw. And our first matchup's a very tough opponent, so I'm excited about it. This is what we came for. This is what we playing through the regular season just to get to this moment, this opportunity, and this is where the magic does happen. So get ready.
Yeah, you make your own magic, Sam. Right?
Yes, sir.
That's it, brother.
It's just this week, nothing else. Who cares?
You see that? You see this throwback? You see this throwback?
I see that throwback.
We're bringing the throwback right now. It's coming back. Just watch.
I like that.
All right, we'll be back after the break. We're going to talk the Holler Championship at University City with Gary, and we're going to talk about the 4A rankings after this break from Deer Park Water.
Deer Park is celebrating its 150th anniversary. Let's take a look back.
Deer Park, that's good water.
You can taste how pure Deer Park is.
Deer Park, that's good water.
Filtered naturally beneath the earth for a crisp, refreshing taste.
Deer Park.
Deer Park.
Deer Park. Deer Park.
That's still good water.
After 150 years, there's only one thing left to say. Deer Park, that's still good water.
How did you all get in here?
All right, guys, we're back with the Fight Club. Chris, let's talk rankings and we'll talk pairings.
All right, again, 4A Fight Club all the way is Coach Grice kind of poetically named it a few years ago, and he's absolutely right. Look at top the rankings there. You got Grimsley, Rollsville, Butler, Huff, Mooresville. A lot of these teams are really playing good football at the right time. Cleveland, they had a very tough win over Clayton Friday night. This Pinecrest team continues to look good. Hoggard, Weddington, even with the loss, I still got Weddington there. I'm up in the air on Weddington. I definitely don't think that they're a 1 seed, but we'll talk about that later on. And then Cardinal Gibbons. And Cardinal Gibbons is a team that I'm really, really high on coming out of the East. So I think we got a lot of really strong football matchups coming up here in the next 4 weeks, 5 weeks.
Alex, your response to these rankings? Cardinal Gibbons, Nick Drew's defense on there.
You expect anything else?
I was trying to preempt you from saying Nick Drew's defense. I just said it first.
Well, I'll join right in the litany and affirm that the Cardinal Gibbons defense under the direction of defensive coordinator Nick Drew did an outstanding job down the stretch in its regular season finale versus Leesville Road. But in addition to Nick Drew's defense, I also like to acknowledge the aggressive play calling of Cardinal Gibbons offensive coordinator Bill Leedy, which put the Crusaders in the position to rally.
Grice mentioned him on Grice's Gems. We had a Cardinal quarterback on Grice's Gems. He mentioned the OC and he shouted. He said, "You're always talking about the DC, so I'm going to talk about the OC." Jim West, can Cardinal Gibbons make a run in the 4A? Jim West.
I see them making at least to the third rounds. I like their draw. I mean, they have to play Overhills in the first round. I think they'll handle Overhills. Then the second round, they would play the winner of Millbrook versus Heritage. And right now, I think Cardinal Gibbons holds that. the third round, if they would be the trick would be having to get through either a Pinecrest or a Clayton or even potentially a Southview. But I think that's where it's going to be a little bit more tricky for Cardinal Gibbons.
All right. Well, we heard what Jim had to say. Hold on, Guru. Hold on. We're gonna let you go. Guru's ready to go.
Jordan.
Guru's ready to go. I want to hear about, before we talk about these brackets, Gary, I want to hear about the
Sun Drop is back. Whoa.
Who won the Holler Championship and what is the Holler Championship?
Well, the Holler Championship is who can do the most.
It's holler like scream. It's not hollow, it's holler.
Yeah, holler. Yeah. Holler. Okay. Making a lot of noise.
It's at Bobby's corner.
And not saying anything, but just making a lot of noise, a lot of hopping up and down, and posturing, because the coach gonna hold you back. You're not gonna cross that 50 because you don't want that smoke, But Mallard Creek won the Holler Championship. And so now they got something to hang their hat on over in University City. After a disappointing season, at least they're the Holler champions. And now they got some momentum, and maybe they can win a first-round playoff game. I believe they'll win the first-round playoff game if they don't lose their voice first.
I don't have any comeback for that. Let's just go to the parents. Cam, start over on the Eastern side.
Well, I'm my thoughts about me. I don't see, and this is the bulletin board material for every other team in the East. I don't think there's a team right now within 10 to 14 points of Roseville. They are. That's a tough team.
Wait, a team in the East or a team in the state?
The East. Okay. I think Roseville coach Rainer Rackley's got them firing right now. But I've got Roseville over Purnell Sweat there. But I've got Wake Forest over Garner. Give me Jack Britt and Pine Forest. Okay. Yes, I've got Cardinal Gibbons advancing out of the first round for sure in a rematch of last year where they lost to Millbrook. Will they lose again? We'll find out in the second round. I've got Clayton there going up against Pinecrest in the second round. Coach Chadwick's got that Clayton team looking good. Give me Hoggard over Chapel Hill, and then give me Holly Springs over Jordan.
Yep.
I like Apex Friendship, and then that Middle Creek and Laney game could be pretty interesting, but I got Laney.
Good.
Then Hillside over New Hanover, New Bern over Apex. That Leesville Road and Richmond game, Richmond, I think they've got a better defense, but I think Leesville Road can put up too many points on them, and then Cleveland over Grays Creek.
All right, let's stay in these quadrants. Alex, just these quadrants of 8. What do you think here?
I got to go with that Leesville Road Richmond game as the determinant out of there.
Okay.
Richmond coming around, getting the big win over Scotland to conclude the regular season, just create something interesting there. Cleveland is very, very good. Had a little more trouble with Clayton than I thought they would on Friday night, and what was an absolute classic of a game between two intratown rivals. So I can see Cleveland getting there, but watch out for that Leesville Road Richmond game in terms of saying what's going to happen out of this quadrant.
Guru, same quadrant.
Alex, if you didn't see Clayton coming home strong, you must not have been paying attention, buddy. This Clayton team has been coming on really strong, but the thing that worries me in that bracket is, they're such a low seed. If you look back at Coach Scott Chadwick's stat, and I had to dig really deeply here, since he got to Cleveland, I think that since he got to Clayton, he's only lost one game at home, and he wins by an average of 49-7. But on the road, he's 10-9 or something like that. Winning by only an average of 2 points. So Clayton is really a home team. They like being at home. So I struggled projecting Clayton to be a deep team. I think that Cleveland and Hoggard are on a collision course to play each other. I like both of those teams. I really like Jordan. I think Jordan is coming on strong in this quadrant. I like them a lot, but I don't think that they quite have the defense to play with Coach Craig Underwood's Hoggard team. I think Hoggard and Cleveland most likely are on a collision course. It's a 28-20 game in week 1 with Cleveland barely getting by Hoggard. I think that's going to be a Donnybrook of a fourth-round game here in a few weeks.
All right, Cam, let's go over to the other side, the western side. Let's start at the top with Weddington and Providence.
Yeah, I've got Weddington, and then I've got Chambers, and that second round game between Weddington and Chambers could be a really good one. I still think Weddington probably gets the job done in that game. Got TC Roberson over Reagan, and then Charlotte Catholic actually upsetting Myers Park as a 24 seed there. I got Huff and Porter Ridge. I think Porter Ridge beats Cuthbertson again. Huff shouldn't have too terrible of a time with Asheville there. Sun Valley and Cox Mill was kind of one that I struggled with. Cox Mill's shown flashes at times this year that they could be really good, but I picked Sun Valley. Then I've got Grimsley over North Mecklenburg. I think Grimsley at the 4. I thought they would end up getting the 1 seed, but RPI. Then Mooresville and A.L. Brown. A.L. Brown played Mooresville probably the toughest out of anyone in their conference, but I don't. It's hard. I think this one could be pretty lopsided.
It was 30-7 in the fourth quarter before A.L. Brown made it close. It's not as close as the score looked.
Gotcha. Okay.
Well, in the end, it was close, but yeah, I've got Mooresville on that one. I've got Davie over Mount Tabor. Butler as the 6th there. I think Butler could really make some noise and eventually get to the championship if they're playing their best football. But I picked West Forsyth over Audrey Kell, East Forsyth over Page. I've got Independence over Lake Norman, Mallard Creek over Marvin Ridge, and then Watauga over Hickory Ridge.
Chris, what do you think on the western side of the 4A break?
There's a lot of games that I think could go both ways. For the most part, I really agree with what Cam said. Cam obviously did his homework, and I like some of them teams. I want to stay right here, though. And Coach Andy Capone, he can go ahead and start playing this on repeat in his locker room, and I'm sure he will. But I think that Providence day, even at 5-5, is a whole lot better than they look. And looking at some of the film that I saw of last week in Marvin Ridge, I think Weddington's going to come back and flex their muscle and show us who they really are. But it would not surprise me to see Providence play that game really, really close. Chambers and Northwest, I think Chambers looks good. One of the games that I think that really is a potential for a first-round upset is I could really see Coach Josh McGee's Reagan team. They played one of the toughest schedules in all of 4A. I could see them going up in the mountain and beating TC Robertson. That that Myers Park Catholic game is definitely a tough one. It's really hard for me to pick a winner in that one. Looking down, that Davie Mount Tabor game was a 1-point game a few weeks ago. I think Mount Tabor's a team that's surging right now. And then, I like Independence. I like Mallard Creek. Grice, I want to throw that to you guys. I have a strong hunch that you guys can go up the mountain and play with Watauga and probably come away with the win. But I also know that going up that mountain's a little bit different. So I'm just going to say I'm wishing you all good luck.
We had a big discussion in the chat about, is there a home field advantage by going up in altitude? Is that a thing, Grice, you think?
I mean, it's definitely something to talk about. Making our kids aware. Again, it's something different. I do think that is one of the interesting things. I think we get kind of caught up in this show a little bit with looking at this and not realizing with now going to that kind of 9-team, 9-conference champion, kind of guaranteeing that home game from somebody up there. You really get cool experiences of having your kids go up there and play a game in a place they're not used to. When I was at Mallard Creek, we did that going up to Asheville. A little bit different here with a little more elevation going further up in the Boone, but it does create an interesting environment and kind of put your kids in some new territory. So I do think it helps those mountain teams a bit there. But, I mean, it's just something to talk about with your kids just so they're aware of what's going on. But I'm excited for the opportunity to go there. They have a great football team, and I know it's going to be rocking up there in the mountains. But I also like our chances too.
Yeah. Well, that was a great breakdown.
I really like Butler's draw. I like Butler's draw, even though they got the 6 seed. It actually is a nice fit draw for them, I think.
I see Butler going all the way. I agree.
Yeah.
Alex,
Butler
can they
got a great
prepare for the atmosphere up in Watauga?
Absolutely. Yes, they can. It's very important to realize time and again that there's absolutely no such thing as home field advantage in sports. Home field advantage is something that's conjured up by people looking for excuses for teams that don't play well because they can't play well. And teams that can play well anywhere. It's also worth noting that altitude really comes into effect in terms of elevation only when you get over about 8,000 feet.
That's
the highest
not true.
point in North Carolina. is Mount Mitchell at about 6,700 feet. Now, I just want to go on record and say that the schools have the resources to prepare their student athletes for this, and if coaches choose not to do that, then they choose not to do that. I mean, it's a great opportunity for us to show the opportunities to interface with an education-based athletics in terms of science teachers who can help share relevant information for planning in these types of situations. And that is the efficacy of education-based athletics right there. If coaches choose not to do that, then they choose not to do that, and that's on them.
All right.
No, so normal humans have to, for every 1,500 foot of elevation, to not have problems with oxygen absorption into your blood, takes 1 day of acclimation. It is not over 6,000 foot. It's every about 1,500 foot of change, you see a drastic change in oxygen absorption into your blood. So I wouldn't say that at all. It can have an impact. The question is, do they do the right things to, as I mentioned in our chat, to try to overcome that or to gain more oxygen?
I ain't gonna lie to you. I feel like we got a home field advantage too when the fish smell by halftime, and there's a certain other smell that comes to play that can give us an advantage by the halftime. And
you're gonna scare them off you're gonna pull them off the bench to go get that fish.
And something else mixing with it, and then we play better with it. So,
I just want to kind of put another factor to think about when it comes to the Watauga game going up the mountain for Hickory Ridge. I think at kickoff on Friday night, it's going to be about 30 degrees, and someone who has played or has coached up in Watauga before, it's not so much temperature, but it's going to be that wind you're going to have to deal with, kind of swirling in out there around the mountains coming up 421. That's what I think is going to be the biggest factor, is the wind and the temperature on Friday night.
Well, it's almost a bowl type as well. So humidity and all will settle in with that cold. So make sure the kids are wearing good under gear, Bryce. It will be cold.
But Jim West, we always put our guests on the spot. You hear a little of our dysfunction right now, but we always put our guests on the spot. I'm going to ask you, who is going to be the 4A regional champion and Western champion? Who's going to play in the state championship game?
The Eastern, I like Rollsville. Western, I like Grimsley. I think Grimsley has a really good chance of it. I do think Butler has a very good draw, just like what Sam was saying just a little bit ago. But I'm going with Grimsley and Rollsville.
Who's winning?
Rollsville.
There he is. That's the prediction. All right. We're going to take a break.
No. You're going to ask them 3A too.
Okay, Jim, I got to ask you 3A. He just put you on the spot. Back to the one shot. All right, Jim, 3A.
Unfortunately, North Stanley is not a 3A team, so they're not going to make the state championship game. Now, 3A, though, I think 71st, I like them the best in the East. And in the West, I like Dudley. And I think between those two teams, I'm going with my Eastern guys, 71st, to win the state championship.
All right, Cam, you want to get in before I take a break? Go ahead. Who's going to the finals in 4A?
I've got Butler and Rollsville in a rematch of that game where Butler was shorthanded, and I've got Butler in winning the state championship.
That's strong stuff. Well, we're going to come back with the most popular segment of our show, Coach versus Coach, Grice and Griner and Chris warming up, and then we're going to have some group discussion. Gary has a special message after that, so make sure you hang on after this message from Deer Park Water.
Deer Park is celebrating its 150th anniversary. Let's take a look back.
Deer Park, that's good water.
You can taste how pure Deer Park is.
Deer Park, that's good water.
Filtered naturally beneath the earth for a crisp, refreshing taste.
Deer Park.
Deer Park.
Deer Park. Deer Park.
That's still good water.
After 150 years, there's only one thing left to say. Deer Park, that's still good water.
How did you all get in here?
All right, man. Hey, here we are. It's going into round one of the playoffs. The 3-shot, you know what that means? Let's lock that door.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome.
All right, here we are. Like I said, going into the first round of the playoffs, 2023 high school football season. I got my man Coach Grice on one side, Coach Griner on the other. Both of you guys have some really big games coming up this week. So let's go ahead and get to it. Coach versus coach. We did the coin toss before the game, and as always, Coach Griner, he likes to defer. So Coach Grice, our resident OC here on Talking Preps, is going to get the ball first. Question number one. Butler beat Weddington, but got a number 6 seed. Weddington, they lost last week. They got a number 1 seed. Did the NCHSAA get it wrong?
They didn't get it wrong. I think one thing you have to keep up with is that, again, this is a formula. This is done, again, by kind of winning percentage, opponents' winning percentage, and opponents' winning percentage. The thing that hurts Butler, the thing that hurts Independence is their conference structure. They have, I think it's Rocky River, East Met, Garinger, teams that they're forced to play that drag them down as far as, where they should be. Again, I think everybody was just kind of, confused with how that all worked, while Weddington went out there and sought teams like Dutch Fork, who even their opponents' win percentage was tough. And again, the formula with this has always been play teams with great records. It always has been that. And for me, again, it's no formula, no secret sauce that's going to be 100% right. But if the answer is play good teams or play great competition, I've got to go for that.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Butler did play great teams, and they still didn't get rewarded for it. That's the problem. Their only losses to a Roseville, who we're all saying is more likely coming out of the East. And they played it with some men down. I mean, that doesn't go into the equation, but they literally only have one loss. And Weddington, I think, like I've told everybody, I think Weddington is one of the best teams in 4A football in general altogether. I haven't changed that opinion, but they still got a second loss. That second loss, they have a loss to Butler and they have a second loss. Screw the daggone formula. Come up with a better way of using the formula. It's just a bad formula if that's the case. Now, it works 90% of the time, but there's that 10% of the time. Like I said, we have to fix certain things. If it's a head-to-head battle, you move the person ahead of them. Like if they have similar capabilities of one beat the other one head-to-head, you got to push them forward. Now, I don't think Butler's complaining about their seeding of the way the draw worked out. Like looking at the brackets, there's a lot of teams in the teens that I would not want to play in 4A that are really
that's
dominant.
The part to consider. And that's the part I think you have to consider. Everybody's like push all the best teams up top, but then you go back and look at some of the brackets, and because of the way where you have some of those tough conferences where the 2 or the 3 seed, it's tough. Like we look at Lake Norman. Lake Norman had won 9 straight games, lose the last game of the regular season, and now get rewarded by playing Independence. I mean, just brutal. Myers Park, start off struggle, against tough competition. What's their reward? Surprise, you're rewarded with Catholic out of that same tough conference that finished 3rd. So, I mean, I don't think that just putting people 1, 2, or 3 a lot of times is even a better situation just because of the way everything shakes out. Like South Carolina does it where they kind of predetermine, and a 4 seed really isn't a 4 seed. It's just the certain conference in upper state who now is the 4 seed where they're the 1 seed when they rotate. Like it's not perfect, but I think Butler, we talked about this just a second ago, even though they're not 1, they're not complaining at all. And honestly, I think they got the favorable draw because of that.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's the aspect. Now, like every situation, when you get to this, go back to Alex, like there's no home field advantage situation. Like some of these teams are so battle tested that they beat each other up. They beat each other up so much, but I think these are the teams you do not want to play coming to the 4A playoffs and stuff. So we'll see how it goes.
All right. Let's move on here to question number 2. Coach Griner, let's stick with you. Should the NCHSAA avoid teams that just met in the playoffs, who just met in the regular season? For the record, we've got about 7 or 8 teams that I think are playing this week that also played last week. Nash Central, Roanoke Rapids, Anson, Forest Hills, some of those come to mind. And this also reminds me a little bit of the pod system. But Sam, I'm going to throw it to you first.
No, I wish I could play the team that we just lost to be honest with you. Just that they're going to get back. Some of the teams that have just lost the game, they probably want to play. I mean, it's just the way the draw ends up. I mean, it's not a way you can avoid it. If that's the way the seeding ends up going, and there's a formula that we're using, we got to stick by that formula. All I've said in the past is that I think we need to add something to the formula, the strength of schedule, and the aspect of who you played regardless of classification. Not just the RPI aspect needs to go into the equation somehow, and I think it'd be a perfect formula.
I mean, I like it. I mean, I don't think that they need to avoid crap. Again, last year I went through that. A team that we whooped in Lake Norman. Probably before we had to come right back around and play them in a game. Happened to be at home, but knew that they were coming in super motivated. It to me, it shows the better coaches. Like, even though we were successful, won the game, I think we had the better team. But they did a great job of making it hard by doing a lot of fun things to kind of come back that second game. And I think on offense and defense really gave us some fits. Luckily, we had a couple wrinkles in to help us. But to me, if you're a great team, you go through somebody else. You take that kind of what we're talking about. Like, if we're gonna have all these seeds kind of crazy and the RPI kind of wonky, hey, it might put you again with a team who knows you best. Last year, Weddington and Marvin Ridge, everyone's talking about this, but because we played Weddington in the second round, I know that Marvin Ridge almost beat Weddington last year. Same hullabaloo, same situation. Weddington just made it by 3, had to turn around and play them again, ended up dominating them and kind of correcting their mistakes, which I think they'll do this year. And went through it. So no, don't adjust that. Leave it out as you're good. Go beat somebody who knows you well.
Yeah, it's a great coaching aspect. Coaches, like, if it was a tight game, who was making the corrections and adapting. I think it's kind of cool to see that aspect. Definitely.
All right, man. Let's finish it up here. Coach versus coach. Question number 3. Coach Grice, I'm going to stick it here with you. Should North Carolina live stream the selection show on Saturday instead of everybody just refreshing their page, seeing blank screen, blank screen, blank screen? What do you think about that idea?
I mean, I hate to say this and whatever, but usually if it's a great idea, the state ain't doing it. Like, why would this not be the best idea in the world? I mean, this is one of the best things that the state could do to really highlight it on. I mean, we had to do it with Spaces. Langston had the great idea, to bring coaches on, to bring kids on. Like, this should be something that everybody should do. Highlight this, make it a big deal. Making the playoffs needs to be a big deal. It is a big deal to coaches and players alike. This would be something to really, drum up the excitement, to talk about all that stuff. But I just don't know if they have a media arm, and heck, with all the current swirling and uncertainty around the state, they got enough to deal with just trying to stay an entity that's going to operate going forward. So yes, they should do this. This is a no-brainer.
I'll throw this in there, Coach Griner, before you answer. I'll throw this in there. We could do the Talking Prep selection show, where we have a video camera live streaming the team, looking in their field house, waiting on their team to get announced, and, the elation and the excitement. But also imagine if we'd had a camera set up in, like, Ashe County, for example, 6-4 this year, and find out they didn't make the playoffs when teams like 2-8 Orange did. Wow, I can't imagine the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. Boy, that would have been tough. But Coach Griner, I'm going to let you finish.
Yeah, I think this would be really cool. I mean, think about we're talking about making money for the state. There's ways that you could sponsor this. It can make this a bigger event. It's very special. Everybody's 0-0 if you make it to this dance. We do March Madness type stuff. High school football is big and it's great. And North Carolina is one of the best states in the United States. It's unbelievable. I had a coach from Florida State come here Friday and said, what's the #1 state for defensive linemen in the NFL? They said North Carolina. Like, things like this, we are a big state. We're not just a basketball state. We're football as well. We needed to do something that would be really cool. Everybody would benefit from it. I think it'd be an exciting time to watch that live.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to agree with you, Sam. Hey, just look at 2 names that come off the top of the hat, Mario Williams and Julius Peppers. I agree wholeheartedly about that. So much so I wrote a column for the Observer about 2 years ago on that same subject.
No doubt. The only problem is you can't really do a selection program because they do have to.
That gummit Dale.
I'm sorry, but they have to release brackets so you can look at it, Sam, and complain.
No, that's not when really. I say strength of schedule, I'm talking about power rankings too.
You can't mix the two. That's what I'm saying. Just go straight. Just go straight power rankings.
Dale, you can send emails to the schools, work out all that problem, and then have your selection show like at 6 or 7 that night.
But they have to release preliminary brackets so everybody can see.
Dale, you email them to the schools. You don't have to.
Yeah, but I know what you're saying, but. I don't know.
See, that's why we're not getting it done right there. Dale Ross is why we're not getting it.
Okay. If we can, if it can happen in the schools,
that's all it is. You want to see it.
So
Dale ain't never been in on a pre-lab.
Let's ask the coaches. Hey, let's leave this to the coaches.
Jim,
not to the state, but and if the coaches like that, I'm all for. I'm not against it.
Dale, the state's never going to do what the coaches want. Stop it.
I
Jim,
know they're
listen,
not.
Hold
I
on.
know.
Let's hear from our guest. Go ahead, Jim.
So this is what I do. You got to get as many people mad as you can in the state. It's really easy. Take your conference champions, put them in one hat. You can have your selection show like the 9 through 32 or 10 through 32 for each one of the classification. Throw them another hat, and then offer people a chance to buy I don't know, maybe a $200 dinner for two, and get them to draw a number out of the hat, and like number 6, happens to be Butler High School. They get the number 1 seed. And you know what? Everybody will get mad, but you know what? It'll be fun. You'll make some money out of it. It's all about making people mad.
Everybody
I would love that. That would be off the chain. I would like it.
That.
Make some money off of it.
For sure. Yeah. No, I like the idea of a selection show. And I mean, to Chris's point, I think, we could do a great job. We could put it, all over the state. And you put cameras in places, that would be awesome. And there's a lot of, and the NCHSAA has a lot of TV broadcast partners. Bay Hankle Sports could do it. There's a lot of people that could do it, but I just think the idea of
that's who gave me this hat, Bay Hankle Sports.
They got partners this year. Will they have partners next year?
Well, that's true.
There won't be an NCHSAA next year.
I'll do it next year. You guys.
Yeah, we can do it.
Yeah, I'll do it. All right, so Gary, you had a special word you wanted to put out before we get out of here, and I'm gonna put you in a one shot before we give Sam his spot and let you say what's on your mind.
2 things. First of all, CMS and probably most area coaches around the state got paid on the last week of the season. Okay, now we're entering the playoffs. CMS has 10 schools that made the playoffs. If you say each staff has at least 8 players, they met this weekend for 4 hours, I'm sure, Saturday or Sunday. They're going to meet and practice for 3 hours, Monday through Thursday. And then Friday is the long day. From the time they get out of school until 10 o'clock when the last game is played, they're supervising those kids. They're giving them pregame meal. They're driving buses. They're getting kids to the game, and all for free. All for free. And, I'm a retired social studies teacher. And when you work for free, it's one of 2 things. It's slavery or it's indentured servitude. One or the other. That is atrocious, CMS, that these guys are not getting paid for 24 hours of extra work this week, supervising people's kids, preparing them for success in life. And then some of them are going to do it again next week and the following week, all for no pay. That's not right. And you people that are running for school board or county commission, if you want to get a block of people on your side to vote for you, why don't you put that on your platform about pay for these people who are working for free to take care of our students? Now, that's the serious part. On a happier note, I want to give a huge shout out to Hopewell High School. In 2007, when I first worked there, they had a very good athletic program. Basketball team was great. I won a couple championships conference-wide. The boys were ranked statewide, and we even won a conference football championship. Once Huff opened up, their athletic program declined drastically, and it's had a long, tough road to get back to respectability. And under the leadership of Principal Tracy Pickard and Athletic Director Brian Burke, they have made substantial gains in the last few years. The baseball team won a conference baseball championship. Last week, the soccer team won a conference championship. The cross-country team finished in second. And other teams are making the playoffs. So they're making a huge comeback in athletics. And I just wanted to give a huge shout out to those coaches at Hopewell and the administration. And not only that, they got the best marching band, the Titanium Sound, in the whole city. If you hadn't seen them, you need to get to see them next year because they didn't make the playoffs. But they got the best marching band in the city of Charlotte. So shout out to Hopewell High School.
Shout out Hopewell High School.
I'm not
All right,
gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. That marching band at halftime that we had them, they had us for their homecoming, and our kids were like getting into it. I ain't gonna lie. They marching band pretty amazing.
That's pretty strong for a West Charlotte guy.
West Charlotte
I
to say your band is good. That says like that says like.
It was amazing.
All right, big starters, one shot. What you got?
My final thoughts are, it's getting crunch time. Okay, you got kids that have been playing offense their whole season. Now, you're dipping into, we got to create depth. We had a kid, Davion Jones, played offense all the games. Last game, we put him on defense, and in the third quarter, he had a serious calf cramp, and he couldn't play the rest of the game. It's really happened, and it made me think about hydration. You're going to do a lot more things. You might be going to the mountains. And the one thing that Davion said to me, he says, "Well, I drank water today." And I said, "Well, did you hydrate the day before? Did you stay hydrated throughout the week?" And he said, "No, I just thought I had to do it right before the game." And we were sponsored by Deer Park Water. And I want to say, I have been drinking my water ever since I saw this guy go down. And I feel so much better. I feel like I'm not going to lose any more games because I'm staying hydrated. I feel like I was dehydrated in the game Friday, and maybe my thinking process wasn't all up to beat. But I appreciate Deer Park sponsoring us, and make sure you stay hydrated, not just now, but throughout the time. Thanks, Deer Park.
Shameless plug there from Sam.
You're like a NASCAR driver.
Yeah.
Deer Park pickle juice.
Well, look, it was a great show, guys. Jim, thanks for coming on with us. Jim, can you come back next week? Can we get you back next week as we continue on the march through the playoffs? We're so blessed. I mean, we got the number one voice high school football. Number two, we got Jim West. We got Alex. Cam's, killing it. And Cam's gonna come back next week with his record from his picks, right, Cam?
Yeah. You gonna tell those? You want me to tell?
You're gonna tell us how you did. And then I don't know who Gary's gonna make mad next week, but he's gonna make somebody mad next week. So
I love it, Gary. And that was a great speech, by the way. I think that what you said was amazing. Why can't they figure that out? I don't understand why.
Yeah.
And the thing is, you could lose your job. Here's the thing that you didn't think about, but you're coaching more now. You could technically do something to lose your job.
During that period,
I thought about that. I said I'm gonna mess around and upset the wrong person, and they gonna call the observer, say you got to get this dude off the air.
Nah, they like you.
Nah, they can't do that.
They like you great. When you start talking
I'm still on the show. That's been happening.
That's true. All right, y'all. That's Coach Sam Grinder, Coach of West Charlotte High School. We'll see if he'll be still alive in the playoffs next week. Coach Grice take his team up to the mountains, 1,500 foot elevation. I don't know, Alex or Dale, somebody's right, is going to have an effect. Guru number of White High School football, Jim West, thanks for joining us from Carolina Preps. Gary Richmond, the coach. That's Cam, the Guru in training.
I got to stop you. If he's going to be the guru in training, Cam, you got to learn schools like Perquimans, Pisgah. You need to learn the names.
Yes, Perquimans. Say Perquimans 5 times for me.
No, don't.
Pasquatank.
Cherokee, baby.
All right, I'm Langston, and we are Talking Preps.